time to lower this thing. Let's get it done. Welcome back, guys. Today is a highly anticipated day for me. Today we're installing the S&R Performance lowering springs on the Mustang. If you saw the last video, the winner was announced for the recent giveaway that we had running. So that was really cool. And you got to see a little sneak peek of the springs, but today we're gonna be installing them. Let me show you what you're gonna need. Okay, so for the installation today, you can see we have the springs over here. Looks like these thicker ones are the rears, I'm pretty sure. Obviously gonna double check that. And the fronts here, in the middle. So anyways, we got the springs there. What we're gonna need today, and I'll update if we end up using anything else throughout the video here, but I have a spring compressor kit that we're gonna use. We have a 3/8 drive here that we're gonna use. We have a panel removal tool, which we'll probably need. A couple hammers, some more sockets here, ranging from a bunch of different sizes, but I'll make sure to call them out in the video. Got my 1/2" impact gun here, a little smaller impact. And then down below, I have even more sockets and a breaker bar in case things get a little too crazy. So I think first step here, I gotta get the car jacked up in the air. So we're gonna get all four off the ground here, and we're gonna start with the fronts and end with the rears. Well, enough talking. Let me get the car jacked up and we'll go from there. All right, time to jack it up without hitting the car. All right, guys, we got the front and the rear jacked up. Just a quick note here, so you can jack up on the rails on the side here for the front, and for the rear, I actually just used the differential as a jacking place here. So I get under there and I put my jack right under the rear diff and jack from there, and then I just place the jack stands off to the side on the rail. So if you guys are curious on that, that's how I got it up there. And so, yeah, gonna buzz off the tires in the front, and we'll get started. Shit, get in there. Got it. My God, it's hot out here today. Georgia in August. I always plan to do this stuff like the best times. So, wheels and tires are off. So now let's just take a break on this chair and reflect on our progress. Okay, we're done. Let's go. So first things first, we're gonna remove these top 3 nuts here. We're actually gonna remove 2 of them and then loosen one of them and leave it attached. We're gonna have it backed off to just where the threads are catching, so the strut doesn't fall out on us. These top bolts are 15 millimeter socket here. All right, so now that those 3 bolts are loose up top here, now we can disconnect the sway bar end link here. So behind here, we're gonna reach in with a 17 millimeter wrench behind here, just like that. And then, just like magic, it'll stay there for you. And then we have an 18 millimeter socket right here that we're gonna buzz that off with. All right, guys, I know it's kind of dark in here, but then after we loosen up or remove that sway bar end link, you can see that, that's just over here now. I can actually push that down. We're gonna lay that down there. Then we got to remove this clip for the sensor here. So just use that little pry tool, or I'm sure a flathead screwdriver would work there too. So I'm gonna loosen this up. And then we're gonna be going behind the caliper here, and there's 2 caliper bolts behind here. We're going to remove those and take this caliper and lay it right on the little K-member there to get that out of the way, so we can get at these 2 bolts here. We got 1 and 2, and then by that time I'll come back to you. All right, and then these 2 caliper caterpillar bolts, these two caliper bolts here. I don't know if you'll be able to see with the light like that. One up top, and then there's one on the bottom. Those are 15 millimeter bolts, and I got the impact right there, so we're gonna buzz that off, and like I said, we'll set that on the K number. All right, caliper is out of the way. We got that sitting on the K number. Now we have access to these two nuts here that we have to actually buzz off first, because these bolts are splined. So we'll end up having to hammer those out. So don't try to just keep spinning this whole assembly here together. You have to take these two nuts off first, or at least loosen them to get to the ends. And I'll show you that in just a sec. And then we'll have to hammer these out. And you guys probably see now why I'm doing springs first, and then painting calipers, and then painting wheels. Because right now, it's just sitting on the K member. It would be all scraped up. So I'm thinking we go in, we do what we gotta do with the suspension, and then we'll get to painting. And that way we don't gotta mess with it.
10 seconds later.
Well guys, let this be a lesson to everybody else trying to attempt any sort of job in their garage. Make sure you have all the correct tools to get the job done. I thought I did, but I apparently don't. I am missing one socket to finish up, or at least keep the project moving in the front end. And that guy here is an extended 15/16 socket. Yeah, let's see right there. I have the stubby one, but it's not long enough to undo those bottom two bolts there. So Megan, the trooper that she is, she's out and about here today, but she's gonna do me a favor and pick one up. So in the meantime, I'm gonna cut to the rear and I'm gonna start working on those to hopefully make some progress. I've already started, I got the other side of the car already to the same point where this side is right now that I've been just showing you. So let's work on the rear, and then hopefully that goes well, and Megan can be my little saving angel here and get me that 15/16 socket. We'll see. All right guys, we're around back of the car now. I have obviously wheels taken off, as you saw. Next little thing we're gonna do here is just buzz off this bolt here holding the brake lines. That way we have a little bit more flexibility when we lower the subframe down. You're also gonna want to pull this one up here too, which this thing just pops right off, or in theory it should. The other side did. Let's see, there we go. And so do this on both sides. And then we start having some fun with the subframe bolts, but we'll catch up with that under the car. Oh my God, is that a Megan hair within the spring of my wheel? In the spring of my rear end here? What the heck? Megan, your hair gets everywhere. She's gonna love that part of the video. You just watch. All right, well, we're under the car, and we got the subframe supported. Right behind me, you can kind of see where I went here, hopefully. Kind of not really. Let me try to get you a better shot. Somewhere in there. So that's supported. Whoop. So that's supported, and then we have a couple bolts right here, 13 millimeters that we got to buzz out of there, and then we got a big 21 on the front side of the subframe, and then we got another 21 on the back side of the subframe that we got to get out of here, and then everything's going to kind of go down. So that's the idea anyway. Let's see if that's a reality. I don't know. Almost forgot to video this part, but I'm taking out these shock mounts now here, so. All right guys, so everything is loose. You can see if we push down on this, that spring is loose in the perch there. So I'm gonna just try to work this out of here the best I can with giving this a little leverage and trying to pry that thing out. So we'll see how that goes. Guys, we got one out. Sorry I didn't get it on video. I thought I was time-lapsing, but I was not. So what I had to do was actually remove the exhaust hanger right there to get a little extra clearance to get this thing lowered properly so I could pull out the spring. So that's just a little note. You may have to do that if you are if you're doing this project, but I'm going to grab that lowering spring and pop it in, and then do the same thing on the other side. And try to button everything up here. So at least the rear is done. And then by some miracle, Megan will show up with that 15/16 socket, and we'll get the rest of it done. Oh, there it is, guys. There's the new one. Let's see, kind of interesting. There's no markings on which one's left and right, so I'm hoping that they are just what they are. They're identical. They should be identical, I would think. So, I don't know though. So, let me get these in. You can see, here's a little quick comparison. They look pretty dang close to the same size, maybe a little bit shorter. Try to get this lined up right. Yeah, it looks like maybe it's a one coil less, maybe. Yeah, it's like you just cut off one coil. Bing. So if you want to do this on the cheap, maybe that's a way to do it. Just kidding. Don't do that. That's pretty janky. All right, time to throw this one in. And I'm excited. This will be the first side done. All right, one side is done, and I mean 1/4 of the car is done. The right driver, or the rear driver's side is done. So I'm gonna post in, because you gotta retorque these bolts, and a lot of the videos out there don't give you the torque specs. So I'm gonna put that in as like a picture here, so you guys can see all the different torque specs on the front and the rear, just to make sure you guys have it in one place. Because I was kind of searching all over for it to try to get it. So I'm gonna torque this side and then start working on the other. All right, rears are done, and now we're just waiting on Megan for that 15/16 socket, and then we can finish up the fronts. She's here! Woo! The project can continue. Megan. Yes, that's exactly it. Guys, she's a lifesaver. Thank you. All right, now we can finish this. Oh, guys, let's see if it fits. Here it is. This is what we need. Yes, that's the one. Okay, if you're still following at this point, since I know we jumped from the front to the rear, now back to the front, we're gonna get started on taking out those front shocks, struts, assemblies here. So let me show you what 2 bolts that we gotta remove, and with everything we've done already to the front, that's pretty much it. And then we're gonna be able to move on from there and compress the spring and all that fun stuff. So let me show you that real quick. These 2 right here that need to come out. So we're gonna remove these for the most part. We're gonna take them out to about here. And then we got to pound these studs off, or these bolts out, because they are splined. All right, we got those 2 bolts out, and those were definitely on there pretty good. So used a little PB blaster to help them slide out a little bit. It looks like we got one more little connection here I gotta pry off of the strut body. After I do that, this thing is just hanging here by that one bolt that we have up top that's just kind of hand threaded on. So after that, these are gonna just fall right out. It's out. So what we gotta do now is put the spring compressors on, get that situated, compress the spring a little bit, and then buzz this nut off the top of the strut. Brand new, never used.
The next day.
All right, guys, welcome back. Well, I didn't get it all done in one day like I thought I would. I got to the front suspension here, as you saw where we left off yesterday, and that front spring was giving me a lot of trouble. But let me show you where I am right now. I have it all replaced out, all in on one side. We still got to do the other one though, so let me show you where we are. And as you can see, it is now raining, so that's nice, but thankfully we have the garage here, so we're all right. So I got the new spring in, which you really can't see because it's super dark, but new spring is in, And now we're just going to be torquing down some bolts and putting the caliper back on, and then this side is good to go. But I'm gonna get to the neck side here and get another clip of that, and we are gonna be wrapping it up. $21mm. Is that it? Yes. All right, guys, we got it out. That's the last one. So all we have now to do is to get this old spring off and put the new one on, compress this down, put it back together. About easy as that. I am so happy that's the last one, not gonna lie. Guys, I just wanted to make a quick note here. So we have the new spring, and there is a right and a wrong way to put this on. So you can see the coil is tighter on this side than it is over here. So if we put this coil down into the boot down there, or the retainer, you can see that it's a pretty darn good fit on that isolator down here. Let's see if I can get you a shot. Pretty good fit. It's all the way bumped up to the stop right here. But if we take this out and we put it the other way around, see if I can do this with one hand, and we put it in here, you can see it's not lined up. See if I can do this. I'm holding it with my legs and my arms, and everything's messed up. But here you go. You can see that there is a huge gap in the isolator. So no matter which way you kind of turn this thing is not going to sit on there right. So if you guys are doing this, just make sure you check that, because that's pretty important stuff. You don't want to get it all the way put back together and then figure out you have that problem. So thought I'd make note of it right now. We did it. It's done. It is done. You guys want to see it? Well, here it is. I got it off jack stands on the floor. And I'll give you a better picture here. But yeah, it took technically 2 days to do it, but I stopped, yesterday. And right now, I was going to show you outside because, well, it was raining earlier as well, but I was hoping it was going to stop. But it's pouring right now. So let me show you in the garage, but I don't think that's good enough for this video. So after this, we'll cut to more beautiful weather. All right, guys, we finally got a little bit of sunny weather here, kind of sunny, to show you the car. Excuse how dirty the car is right now, but this is where it sits. You can see it's not too low, but we definitely decreased some of the gap here in the front and the rear. But it's not too crazy aggressive right now. I am hoping that in a few days here it drops a little bit as the springs settle. But right now, this is where it is. And I'll hit you guys back up next week with an update on this, and we'll see where it's sitting then. I know these springs aren't gonna be super, dramatic in terms of the drop on this, but I think it's still gonna sit a little bit lower than this. And yeah, so that's where it is right now. Well, guys, that's gonna do it for this week's video, and that completes the install on the S&R Performance Springs. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully it was informative for you, and if not, hopefully it was entertaining at the very least. Make sure if you like this video to subscribe down below, smash the notification bell, and hit that like button for me. That helps me out a ton. And of course, we will see you next week in the next video. Bye.